What are we doing? Good. So when I went to church yesterday, the first thing I said was, thank God what could have happened didn't happen. So, we did, I think it's just reviewing this game, a little bit of a reality check. One of the things that we wanted to do in the game was channel our passion and our energy into positive execution on the field. And I think when we did that, we played really, really well. But there were some times where we didn't, and it was very costly in terms of some of the errors that we made, whether they were penalties or mistakes on defense or whatever it might be. So the reality check part comes from taking the good things and building on them and getting some of these other things corrected. Having the opportunity to play in the SEC championship game is, I'm very, very proud of this team for the progress that they've made, the work that they've done. To give themselves an opportunity to play in the SEC championship game. This is one of the most competitive, best venues, in college football. And we're obviously playing, one of the best teams in college football, if not the best team in college football. Kirby's done a fantastic job there. I mean, I don't think people realize, how hard it is to win 29 games in a row or even be 12-0 in a season. So, they got really good players. They're really well coached. They're one of the most prolific offensive teams in the country in terms of yards, points, ability to run, ability to pass. They've got good players at every position. Defensively, they're the number one team in the SEC. Got good players, well coached, do a really, really good job. And they also do a great job on special teams. So they've got good specialists, and this is a team that doesn't have a whole lot of weaknesses. That's why they are who they are and what they are. And it's going to be really important for us to do, a great job of executing and do what we do the best that we can do it.
That'll start with Kelly.
Yeah, 2 years ago, similar circumstance, emotional win over Auburn. Then you're playing the SEC championship game against Georgia. What do you think these guys can learn from the way that team prepared and handled their business in between the Iron Bowl and the SEC championship?
I don't really know. I think this is about this team, how they prepare for this game. Not very many guys on this team was on that team. Some of the guys were on that team, understood, what championship preparation is really all about. And I think their leadership and our message is going to be that's exactly what we need in this game. But it's hard to draw comparisons from people who didn't have that experience, sometimes. So, hopefully some of the older guys on the team will be able to give us the leadership that we need to be able to get that message across.
Charlie.
Yeah, Coach, when you look back at Jermaine Burton, what maybe stood out about him when he entered the transfer portal, and maybe how has he grown and matured since then?
Yeah, well, Jermaine has done a really good job for us, and, we continue to harp on, consistency and performance, all the time. He's been very productive for us, and, we played against him, and, we thought he was a good player when we played against him. So that was probably, the reason for our interest in him to start with. And, he hasn't disappointed us with his performance on the field. And, we continue to work on his ability to stay focused on, do your job well, create value every play in terms of what you do, and be consistent in your performance. And he's certainly made strides in that direction.
Caden Proctor got named co-SEC Freshman of the Week. How have you seen him most improve this season?
Yeah, well, he's, we talked about him, on several occasions about developing confidence, I think, in what he's supposed to do, how he's supposed to do it, why it's important to do it that way. The improved communication in the offensive line, I think, has contributed to that development of confidence. And I think that's the one word that, when you have success, which he has had more success in recent games, that really helps build confidence and an expectation that you can do things at a high level. And, that's how you prepare and that's how you go play.
Let's go, Kate.
What are the challenges of preparing for a guy like Brock Bowers? And then do you just kind of, Kirby said yesterday, status is kind of day to day. Do you just prepare as if he's going to play
I'm sorry.
Brock Bowers for Georgia?
Yeah. Well, Georgia's got a really, really good offensive team. And the quarterback obviously does a fantastic job of whether they're running the ball, carrying out fakes, play action passes, drop back passes. I mean, he is very efficient and effective in everything that he does. He's very accurate with the ball. He's smart, throws at the right place. So he does a great job of implementation of exactly what they want to do. And they have a really, really good scheme. And obviously, Brock Bowers is a really, really good player, probably the best player at his position in the country. And, I'm assuming that he will play in the game. I don't know any different than that. And he's a mismatch issue, but he's also a good blocker and a really good competitor. So it's not only his pass catching ability, it's his ability to do all the things that really good football players do. And he does them all at a high level.
Coach, everyone knows about the Iron Bowl rivalry, but this Georgia-Alabama rivalry is turning into something every year bigger and bigger. How healthy is that for the game of football? And obviously the Kirby and your connection adds to that as well.
Well, I think that, all these sort of, you call them rivalry games, some of them are instilled in the culture, like the Auburn game, the Iron Bowl. That's part of the culture. People have been watching that game for how many years? And it's always going to be that. And then, some of these other sort of rivalry games, as you call them, aren't traditional rivalries, but because there's two really good teams playing, and it's been historically that way for a while, they become those kind of games. And, that's kind of what this has become. So, you don't get an opportunity to play against the team who's won, 29 straight games very often, which speaks to their quality. But it also speaks to the challenge and the opportunity that, our team has in preparing for a team like this.
A question about Georgia's passing game. So Ladd McConkey, of course, missed September with a back injury. Took him a couple of weeks after that, I think, before he was in peak form. And that's right when they lost Bowers to the ankle injury. So they've only had those guys healthy together for like 2-3 games. How much more dynamic is Georgia with both of those guys healthy?
Well, both those guys are really good players. So obviously they're very dynamic. But I will say this, that the players who have played for those guys, and this speaks to the depth of, Georgia's team, Four is a really good tight end and has done a really, really good job. 186.5, the other receivers that have played, they've always done, they've done a really good job and they're really, really good players. So those two guys are fantastic players in their own right, and they're very productive. But the players who have stepped up and taken their place have done a really, really good job as well.
You mentioned Caden earlier, but the whole offensive line's kind of improved. No pre-snap penalties over there. 1 sack allowed. How good of a job has Eric Wolford done, kind of turning around that unit?
Yeah, he's done a fantastic job, and I think the players have responded well to him. And our technique has gotten better. Our communication has gotten better. The continuity of playing together has gotten better, and I think the results that we're getting is, showing that. But I also think this is probably the best front they're going to go against all year to this point. So it'll be interesting to see, how that matchup sort of transpires.
Finish up with 2 in the back.
Hey, Nick, Jalen Milroe told us postgame that he thought his emotions sometimes got the better of him, but at times it feels like that emotion fuels his play. How difficult is it sometimes to walk that tightrope of playing with emotion, but making sure as the quarterback that you're dialed in and making the proper decisions?
Well, I just think that for any player, probably most importantly at quarterback, because you have the ball every down, to do something with, whether it's to hand it to somebody, throw it to somebody, run it yourself, whatever. It is what I mentioned earlier about having passion to play and not getting overly emotional where you don't make good decisions and choices, whether it's because you put pressure on yourself or you're trying to make plays or whatever. Everybody wants to make plays, but everybody's got to trust and believe in, if I do exactly what I'm supposed to do on this play, that's going to give the best opportunity for this play to be successful and for us to make plays within the system and the scheme. And for the most part, we've been doing a great job of that. So, but it kind of goes back to what I said earlier, and this not just the quarterback, but we sort of, when we got a little emotional in the game, whether it led to penalties or poor choices and decisions in some cases, that's not really putting your passion into what you have to do on the field to execute. And I think sometimes when you get outcome oriented, which, sometimes when we want to win a game really, really bad, you get outcome oriented. That sort of leads to those kind of emotional sort of surges that can create some issues as a competitor.
Finish up right.
What has impressed you the most about Jalen Milroe's growth this season?
Well, obviously Jalen has played really, really well for us. He's got a lot of confidence. I think he's got a really good understanding of what his role, what his job is, how he's been able to execute it on a consistent basis, whether it's as a passer or as a runner, whether it's scrambling or design run. He's done a really, really good job, I think, of playing one play at a time and trying to execute that play the way it's designed so that he distributes the ball in a very efficient, effective manner. And I think that's how his growth, has sort of occurred and, transformed him as a player and really transformed our offense as well because of his growth and execution. All right. Thank you.
Right, raise your hands for Deontay. With, Mike in the middle.
Just kind of coming back from injury, how close to 100% did you feel in this past game?
I think I'm just getting better every day. Just stay in the training room and, just try to get back 100% as I can.
I asked Coach this: the rivalry with Georgia, it's growing every year. It's not like the Iron Bowl that's been going on forever, but this is turning into one of the biggest ones in college football. What is the players' outlook on this rivalry?
I think we just approach the game the same way every week, and it's going to be a big week for preparation with us, and that's just something we have to do so we play well in the game.
As a linebacker, kind of what are the challenges of covering a tight end, especially one like Brock Bowers?
Oh yeah, he's elite. It's definitely a challenge. He moves like a receiver. He's not just a typical tight end that you'll see. So it'll be something we'll have to work throughout the weekend. We'll look forward to it.
Right, you're Charlie.
With a guy like Tresman, how have you seen him just get more comfortable as he's been here? And do you think he's a little bit more fired up to face his former team this week?
I think Trez is great. He always is fired up, I think. And just seeing him grow throughout the year, it's been great. He's coming to work every day, and he's doing whatever he can to help the team.
We asked Coach about playing with passion in an environment like last Saturday and not letting it get the best of you. How difficult is that to use that passion as fuel without making mistakes and making critical errors for your team?
I think it go back to practice. I think when you're out there, you're reacting. Like you said, you definitely have to play with passion, but you have to also play smart. And I think that just go back to practice and how you prepare throughout the week that leads to a game.
Just as players, as a locker room, what do you want to show the playoff committee with this game?
I think we just want to go out there and dominate and, just be a championship team. And I think that just start in the week in our preparation, and we just got to keep it going.
They said Brock Bowers doesn't move like a receiver. Really, Amari Black doesn't either. So how much does it help to go against him in practice?
It really helps because he has some explosiveness as well. But Brock Bowers he's a little bit different in a way because he's kind of bigger. But it's just something we have to prep during the weekend, get ready for it.
Seeing Georgia's win streak of 29-0 overtaking Alabama for that record, do players feel like to take that as a challenge to be the team to end that streak?
I wouldn't say I really looked into it that much, but I mean, it's definitely a feeling that, yeah, we want to be the team to do that, but we also we know what comes with that. Nothing else matters but what goes on the field.
Considering how emotional the win was on Saturday,
My bad.
no, you're good. Considering how emotional the win was, what did you say that you learned about your team?
What I learned, like just the weeks that we had the throughout the year, is just how resilient we are, and we were always together, and we just never had a doubt. And when someone needed to make a play, they made a play, and that's a great feeling.
When you guys have a defensive performance like you did, and not being able to stop the run well last weekend, do you do anything different in practice, or is there kind of more film review emphasis on those runs and what some of the motion that caused you guys issues before this next game?
I think we know what we did wrong. Once we came to the sideline a little bit, that's just something we have to go throughout the weekend and get better at it before the challenge we have Saturday.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rosa.
All right, raise your hands, Malachi. You guys questions? Not all at once. Tell me.
We talked to Deontay about guarding Brock Bowers, but that could also be your responsibility in the slot too. Just how challenging is he as a tight end to cover?
He's definitely challenging. A tight end like that can do multiple things. From watching him, I think when he's at tight end, he's a tight end. When he's split out at receiver, he's a receiver. So we have to know what's coming when he lines up in certain positions. And it's going to be a tough week of preparing for him, but we're gonna go out there and do our best and execute the calls that are made.
Right here, Charlie.
Yeah, hey Malachi, when Trez has gotten an opportunity, just have you seen him get more comfortable with this defense? And do you think being a guy that came over from Georgia, this game maybe means a little more?
Yeah, Trez, he's been doing a great job each and every week, getting better and better. I feel like he's getting more comfortable with us. That just comes with chemistry at the end of the day, and just making sure we're communicating and talking about what adjustments we need to make and where the safeties are coming down, when the linebackers need to slide over, anything like that. But on the bus ride back from Auburn, I was talking to Trez about it. So he probably is going to be a little bit more emotional or something like that for playing against his former team.
When you look back at the tape from Saturday, what needed to be better with regards to defending the run?
Just our run fits and jumping over when we need to jump over and not getting gapped out. We was getting gapped out a lot during the game and allowing their linemen to reach the second level very, very quickly, and that leads to explosive runs like on Saturday. So that's an emphasis of us going into this week.
You're one of the guys who was here in 2021. Just how does this Georgia offense, look different from the Todd Monken to Mike Bobo now?
I would say they kind of got similarities. They like to run the ball a lot, and they also have explosive plays. And I just think they do a good job of getting the ball to their playmakers, whether it's 19, 84, 6, 5, 32, whatever it is. And 15 does a great job of managing the offense and making sure everybody's on the right page and making the right play.
Does the team feel disrespected at all, kind of staying in the same spot in the rankings week after week? And has there been any talk about kind of the statement y'all can make to the committee and the country with the game, the opportunity y'all have this week?
Yeah, I feel like we kind of don't look at it as much, just because like we know what comes with it after, I'll say probably after week 3 or something like that, we weren't moving up. So we kind of knew that this game would kind of be the deciding game for us in that type of situation. But I don't think that needs to be our focus this week. I think our focus this week needs to be to go out there and execute and have championship level preparation, and make sure everybody knows how big this game is, how important it is to all of our fans. And we just have to go out there and execute and play together and play for 60 minutes.
You talk about how big this game is. They've won 29 straight, and to take them down would be big. What is this rivalry turning into? You've seen Georgia a few times in your career here.
Yeah. To me, actually, every SEC game is like a rivalry for Alabama, I think, just because each fan base, each team, each coach, each player wants to beat Alabama or put that on their resume that they beat Alabama this year or anything like that. So I feel like it's not something that is going to be new for us, so to say, but it's definitely becoming a rivalry. And it's going to be fun. We love to compete, and we're going to have 2 heavyweights going at it on Saturday.
You mentioned him earlier, but what stands out about Carson Beck, and how is he really different from what Stetson Bennett was doing for them?
I would say Carson Beck, he does a great job of, like I said earlier, just putting the ball in his playmakers' hands. That's from him reading the run option, riding the run option out and making a pass on the RPOs, or if that's placing the ball only where his receivers can catch it. That's the biggest thing I've seen from him on film.
You mentioned getting better in the run fits. That the passing play that resulted in the touchdown. Kind of what happened there? Was that a miscommunication with you and Kool-Aid, or
on the wheel?
Yeah, on the wheel.
Oh yeah, it was me. They had been running the same play over and over and over and over and over again, and I kind of thought it was coming because the outside receiver was cracking me all game. So I just kind of tried to beat the crack, and that's on me, missed assignment. So yeah.
Thanks, okay.
Right. Thank you.
Nick.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, welcome back. But how have you seen Jermaine grow since he got here, and has he talked a little bit about this game coming up this week?
Yeah, I've seen Jermaine grow a lot just from a maturity standpoint and him trying to be a leader and leading by example. And yeah, I also talked to him about the game because I asked him like, "You ain't never played against them, have you?" He was like, "Nah." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So like, yeah, man, he probably gonna be a little hype and a little emotional this game, but in the right way, not emotional in the bad way.
Piggybacking off that, he's been a big deep threat for the offense. How much of a challenge is he to face in practice?
Oh yeah, he's definitely a challenge. He's so fast and knows how to run good routes and yeah, he's a playmaker at the end of the day. He's gonna make that play and that's what he thrives off of. He has all the confidence in the world in himself and we also have the utmost confidence in him as well. And it just makes us better each and every day going against him.
Back to Johnny.
As coach in Lawson, about playing with emotion, and obviously that environment that you guys were in last Saturday was so pressure packed. And how difficult is it to use that passion as fuel, but at the same time making sure you guys aren't taking dumb flags or putting your team behind the sticks in the advantageous situations?
Yeah, that's what it comes down to when coach always talks about play with emotions, but don't be emotional. So like in a tough rivalry game like that, high intensity game like that, you just have to make sure you're keeping your composure. Because things can get a little heated out there at times. And yeah, you just always have to put the team first and make sure that you're not hurting the team with any dumb decision that you make.
In your prep work for Georgia so far, what have you seen from them that impresses you the most?
I would say their ability to run the ball, but also their passing game and how they use Brock Bowers. They line him, like I said earlier, line him up in the C area at tight end, line him outside and number one receiver, line him up in the slot. They just use him overall, kind of like the Chiefs use Travis Kelce, so to say. I think that's the best comparison to say. But yeah, that's what impresses me the most about them.
Talked about the energy that Jermaine Burton plays with. I know you guys are opposite side of the ball and you guys are probably busy looking at film and stuff on the sideline, but when he makes big plays like that, like, you know, this past weekend, the big touchdown to take the lead again, like how much does that just infect the entire team, like to be able to feed off that?
Yeah, it come down to momentum. Anytime we have a big play, especially from the offense, we feel like as a defense, it's our job to go out there and get the ball back to them as quick as possible so they can stay in the rhythm and we can keep our momentum in the game. And that's what we try to do whenever the offense have a big play. But we love to see them go out there and execute big plays and definitely take the top off the defense.
Talked about this game potentially being a deciding factor as far as the playoff. Just is there any discussion among players about maybe winning the game and not getting into the playoff? And how do you feel about that?
No, I just feel like we don't really need to focus so much on the playoff aspect. Everything will take care of itself after this game, and that's what our focus needs to be on this week.
Caleb Downs has been shifting around safety star, similar to yourself. How have you seen him handle that responsibility and continue to make plays for the defense?
Yeah, Caleb's a great player for us. You know, he comes in each and every week, willing to learn and wanting to learn and preparing like a starter like he is, preparing like a veteran like he is, like he's playing like. And man, he's doing a great job for us and playing star for him this week. It was a little challenging at first just because he never played it in the game. But I think he did a great job for us, and he will continue to be a great player for us.
Thanks, Malachi.
All right, thank you.
All right, starting right here with Kelly.
Hey, Jalen. 2 years ago, Bryce had a big Iron Bowl. Really, the big drive, big finish for him, and to turn around and play Georgia in the SEC championship. What did you note about his preparation, the way he handled that kind of 2 week period?
Yeah, the biggest thing about Bryce, he stayed the same person. I think that's what something that I saw with Bryce. He stayed the same person no matter who played, no matter who the opponent was. He knew that through preparation, it was going to allow him to be successful for any weekend. So I think that's something I took away from Bryce. And for me, I just try to be a sponge for all information, and that's the one thing I saw from Bryce. Man, he remained the same person, and I think that ultimately allowed him to be successful.
Hey, Jalen, just what has your chemistry with Jermaine been like this season? How has that grown? And then do you think he's maybe a little fired up to play his former team this week?
Yeah, Jermaine Burton, he had a great offseason. I mean, that's contributed to any success that took place during the season. I think his offseason was really good. He was really detail-oriented. He came to work every single day ready to compete, ready to get better. And I think that he did a really good job challenging himself to be the best receiver he can be. And with all of us, we're excited for a challenge. We're excited for what's next for our football team, and we're all just trying to build as much as possible.
Jalen, you had about 7 seconds to think on that 4th and 31 play. What was going through your mind, and was Isaiah your first read?
During that play, I just thought about fall back to your level of training. What people don't know is my dad and I, since we were little and we trained, we was all about repetition. Repetition. Whether it was an out route, a go ball, a post ball, a dig, we threw that ball probably 150 times. Constantly throwing the ball until I can't miss, till I mess up, honestly. And I'm all about perfection. So that's the biggest thing, with my dad. A quick story right there. But with that play, it was all about the 11 guys. Let's start up front. Start up front. They did a really good job being patient, being sound, fundamental, and taking care of the guys that rushed. And then with that play, the biggest thing about that play was we repeatedly work on that play every single week. And it was an opportunity to take advantage of it. And, we were successful. But IB did a great job on his end getting open.
Talked a lot about the impact that Bryce has had on you, and we see that with shaking everybody's hands on the way back to the locker room, staying poised after big plays and whatnot. What other things have you maybe learned from him, like the little things that he did that maybe we don't see?
Yeah, he was a servant leader. He did things to only benefit the team, and I think that was something that we all took from Bryce, was how much of a servant leader he was. And for me, as a quarterback, that's something I saw. That is something that allows a quarterback to be successful. It's all about the 11 guys on the field, and it's not an eye sport; it's a team sport. So that's the biggest thing, is that making sure everyone's on the same page. And I think Bryce does a really good job being a servant leader here and leading by example.
You've talked so much about progression and progressing each week. What would you tell someone that's judging this team? How much does this team progress from the team that lost to Texas to now?
Biggest thing, we're not a finished product, and I think that's a scary thing. When we're all clicking as a whole football team, it's a scary sight. And I think we have constantly need to improve offensively. Some things we need to clean up, and the biggest thing is with the progression, it takes acknowledging where you need to improve at. I think we really do a good job with that in the locker room, and we're constantly building. We're constantly, acknowledging that there needs to be a lot of effort towards the common goal, and we constantly need to improve.
I think you just said on the phone that 6'2", 220 was your freshman year, but that's not accurate anymore. Is there a better number we should be using for your height and weight?
Let's see. With Thanksgiving that just took place last week, say I'm about 240. No, I'm just playing. I'm about 6'3", and my weight range is, just like I said, we just had Thanksgiving, so I can't give you an accurate number of what I weigh now, but I'm more than 220.
There's some video of you that got loose on social media after the game saying, "Give me the Heisman." I know it was an emotional moment, but I got to ask you, where do you think you stand in that conversation?
Yeah, that was an emotional moment. All about now just fixing what I need to improve on from Auburn, and there's a lot of things that I need to improve to keep pushing, keep moving towards our common goal, and try to get there as much as possible. But that was an emotional answer, and I'm just looking forward to the challenge that's ahead of us, which is this week.
Along the lines of a previous question, as you've gone on your own journey this year as starting quarterback, how have you seen yourself change and grow over the course of the year?
I think I've been the same person since I stepped in Alabama. The only thing that's changed is the opportunity to play the game that I love. I think that's the biggest thing is I've been the same person. Constantly wanting to work, first one in the building, last one out. I've been the same person. And I think that's the biggest thing. All I had was opportunity, and I seized the moment as much as possible.
Jalen, Georgia's 129 straight. To take them down would be huge, obviously. I don't know, I'm sure what the rankings come out, but they have one next to their name right now. How tough is it going to be on Saturday?
Good for them with all the winning they had. But we just know it's a challenge for us moving forward, and we have to constantly know that. And first thing we have to do is take care of today, be the best version we can be on and off the field. And I think we have a really good locker room that acknowledges that. And we're constantly, building, and we're going to have a great plan heading into this weekend. But the first thing we have to do is clean up some things from last game.
Yeah, you got a couple penalties with the illegal forward passes. How difficult is in that situation is it to make a decision like in a second like that? And would you have changed any of your decisions from the last game?
Oh yeah, that's something I got to improve on for sure. Watching the tape and then leaving out the game. Gotta have better field awareness. That's something I gotta improve on. That's in the moment you don't really acknowledge it, but that's something I do need to be aware of, and so I do gotta improve on that. But yeah, I did notice that.
Thank you.
The recording has stopped.